Welcome to Holistically Speaking. My name is Morella DeVoe. I'm your host. Our mission at Holistically Speaking is to be the avenue through which the voices of holistic health reach you at the time you need it most. We look to have different practitioners, coaches, healers, teachers that might bring you ideas, resources, programs, or tools that might help you in your quest for better health, for greater happiness, satisfaction, or even ideas as to what you might pursue yourself. My guest today is my friend and fellow coach, Kim DuBrul. I'm so happy to have you on the show.
Thank you, Morella. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, you know, a few weeks ago I was thinking, who would I love to have on the show? And you were one of the top people to pop up to mind. I was like, oh my God, I need to get Kim on the show.
Thank you.
So I'm thrilled to have you here. And I'm excited to learn and help our viewers learn about all of the different wonderful types of work that you're doing in coaching.
Great.
And so I would love to start right off the bat. When some people hear coaching, you know, they might not get exactly what coaching means, or maybe they have a bias and think of something entirely different than what you define as coaching. So tell us, what do you do?
That's a very good place to start. And matter of fact, when I got your email, I said, that's exactly what I want to do. So we're on the same wavelength.
Excellent.
So coaching, I try to describe to people as a way, as a matter of fact, the other day I had one of the men at my daughter's school said, I want you to teach me about coaching because I think you have a lot to teach me about, that you could teach me about teaching. Mm-hmm. And so quickly I said to him, coaching and teaching are two completely different things. Mm-hmm. And a good way to think about coaching is that your coach will help you, support you, guide you, but most of all, ask great questions to help you lead yourself to your own answers, because we all have our own answers right up here, and sometimes we just need a little help pulling the answers out, a little bit of support, a little bit of belief from somebody else sometimes, but just asking great questions that we don't think to ask ourselves, or take the time to ask ourselves. That is always a big one. So when you come to coaching, you're taking time out for yourself, basically, and you're working on something that is really important to you. And so when you're teaching somebody, you're telling them how to do it. When you're coaching someone, you're helping them figure out what and how they want to do it.
You know, what's just coming to mind right now is the idea of a sports coach, where, you know, I guess if we each see ourselves as the athletes of our own life, then someone like you are essentially helping us kind of tap into our strengths, you know, like work on our weaknesses or whatever to get better at our, is that a fair metaphor?
A fair assessment, and a great coach will help you see what's good about you, which again is really hard for a lot of us to do. And also a great coach will help you see what's not working too, and not be afraid to bring that out into the light so that you can actually work on it, which is when it gets, you know, you can get a little tough here and there, but that's what you want in a great coach. You want someone to really be there for you and really pull out every great thing you have and to hold you accountable. Accountability is a great thing, because in life lots of times we go along and we can say to ourselves, well, I want to do this, or I'm going to do that, and then if we don't do it, nobody knows but us. But when you have a coach, somebody else knows, and someone else can ask you, so how did you do with that? Well, I didn't. So then we can talk about why it didn't happen, and if it did happen, we can celebrate and move on to the next thing. So it's pretty cool.
So I want to ask you all kinds of questions that are just popping up like popcorn about your work, but I'm really curious to learn how you got into this work. Did you have a personal experience about it, or did it just kind of happen?
Yeah, this is a good story. I was in real estate, and I got into real estate when I was 18 years old. I was the youngest person in real estate for a long time. And I stayed in real estate for 19 years. About, I would say, the early 90s, I read a book because I was pretty stressed out and burned out in real estate. It's a long day, hard, you work every day. It's just an excruciatingly hard business, mentally, physically, emotionally.
I'm sure.
And so I read this book by Cheryl Richardson called Take Time for Your Life in the early 90s. And in it, she said that she was a coach. And the idea of that just really intrigued me. I had never heard of such a thing except for in sports. And so I just at that time, reading her book and reading about what she was doing, coaching was not a known thing to anybody, life coaching at all at that point. But I wrote down in my goals, I am going to be a coach. And that was the early 90s. And in the late 90s, my real estate mentor in California came out with a coaching program. And I said, oh, coaching? Oh my gosh, I know about that. I'm signing up. So I signed right up to have a coach with them. And they coached me, and my real estate business was great. Everything was going along great. And then suddenly they started looking for more coaches at this company, which was in California. And they hired me to be a coach for them. That's the short story. I worked on it for a couple of years, and they hired me. And that was how I became a coach. So it wasn't in the way that I initially thought I would, but I coached for them for over 7 years, and I was in coaching boot camp. I coached over 500 people in that time frame. I coached around 40 people a week.
Wow.
And it was all on the phone. My clients were all over the U.S. and Canada. I had one client in Vermont ever, and she's still my client today. And so that's how it happened. I got great training, great experience, irreplaceable.
Yeah.
And then it just came to a time in my life when I decided it was time to do my own thing.
And you fell in love with it.
I fell in love with it. It was everything that I thought it would be. And moving into my own business, I was able to more fully express that and do what I wanted to with it.
And now you've had your own business now for a few years,
yeah,
right?
It's been about 6 years
About
now.
6 years,
Yeah.
excellent. And it's called Your Year of Transformation, which is what we call the show.
Yes, I like that.
So tell us about this idea of Your Year of Transformation. What's that about?
Well, the coaching job I had was very stressful, and there was a long list of things that weren't good about it, but there was a longer list of things that were really good about it. And one of those things was the dark side was that clients that came into the coaching program were pretty much sold from the stage by the person who owned the company. So there was a lot of emotion. Oh, I can do it. Let me do this. It was very expensive for somebody to do this coaching, but they'd sign up with huge belief that they were going to just knock them dead and do it. So they'd sign up, and they had to sign a 1-year contract. And there was no way out. And it was just, that was one of the hardest things for me was as the coach, I had to hear, trouble, we shouldn't have done this, we're in over our heads, but the company would not let them out of the contract.
Wow.
The beauty in that was that I was privileged to see that within a year's time, there was always a time where someone would hit the wall and want to quit. Always a time. Sometime I'd say between like the 4th month and the 7th month, almost like clockwork, for most people, they would feel overwhelmed. I just can't do this. I need to take a break was what I heard all the time. And what I learned, because they weren't allowed to take a break, was right on the other side of that, I'm overwhelmed, I need to take a break, was their breakthrough.
Right.
So because they had to keep going, they were forced to do it. They got everything that was waiting on the other side. And what I really got to see was that so many people stopped too short.
Yeah.
And that's why I named my business Year of Transformation, because within a year, I was able to see that people could really make big changes. They could have huge breakthroughs, and they could do whatever they wanted to, but it was giving themselves the time to do it that was
if you
important.
really stick with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm not harsh like that in my business, just so everybody knows. You don't have to sign a 1-year contract. But it makes it easier for me to say to people when they do hit that wall that, look, this is just the time you need to keep going.
Yeah.
Don't quit, don't back up. That's why people, you see certain people who are just about to be successful over and over again, and then they don't quite get there. It's because just when they're about to have the breakthrough, they take a break, and they have to start all over again.
It's like the story, the Stopping for Freed from Gold. Have you?
Yes, yes. That's such a great story.
Yeah.
Same thing, yeah, almost there, but not quite.
Exactly. So, do you always work with people? Well, actually, let me frame the question this way. In what formats do you work with people? One-on-one, groups, both?
I'm a big variety girl, because when I worked for this company, I was in my office from dawn till dusk with no break, and that was part of the reason I had to leave. I had small children, and my clients were all over, so whether there was a snowstorm or somebody was sick, I still had to be on the phone coaching. and that just didn't work for my family very well.
Right.
So when I started my own business, I was anxious to get out of my basement office because I'm pretty social, and I was in lockdown for quite a while. So I started, I do one-on-one coaching. That has been the basis of my business for a while. And I go to people's offices if they're in the local area, but I have people that come to my office, and I also do a lot of coaching on the phone still. But now I also do group coaching, which I just really love. That's a new area that I'm spending a lot of time with. I do mastermind groups, I do speaking events, I do workshops, and I MC things. So I have to have variety. I like variety. Yes, a little bit between, you know, being on the phone and then being really out there with the crowd. I just like the dynamics of all that.
So I get that you have a variety of format, and I'm thinking about the person who's watching at home and thinking, okay, but what sorts of things do you help people with? Like, who's the person who's watching at home is like, oh, I need that kind of help. What sort of problems do you help with, if you will?
Okay, so I've sort of seen this unfold, and I really didn't know at first what was going to happen, but what it seems to be is I work with a lot of clients, and they're almost all business people, and a lot of them do tend to be entrepreneurial, but I do work with different corporations, bigger companies that will pull me in to work with people as well. But really, most of the clients that I coach overall are already doing pretty well. They're not coming because I'm their last-ditch effort and they just are hoping something will happen. They are already doing well, but they want more satisfaction. They maybe want more efficiency. They want more joy, and they want to go to another level. They want to take where they're at and they want to grow that, but they want to enjoy it more. They want to strategize and figure out, how can I do this better and grow it at the same time. And I do also have clients that come and say, you know what, maybe I want to do this differently, but I'm just not happy. Usually there's a sense of dissatisfaction somehow in there. And when I was doing the coaching job that I was doing, it was all business coaching, and that was one of the things that didn't work for me, because I found that really like 99% of the time when someone was having problems with business, it wasn't about business, it was something else in their life that was going on. So I did a lot of training, and I have some really cool tools. One of them is called Power Coaching with Mind Kinetics, and we use those to really kind of get past all other obstacles in their life. So I do kind of like whole life coaching. So we look at the whole picture, because one area of your life isn't you know, separate from any other.
No,
it's all one, and so we need to look at all the pieces, and that's what we do. But for most of the time, we're looking at their business. But I also work with life coaching clients too, and we're just working on, you know, a lot of times it's getting happier. I do have clients who maybe had a great job and they lost the job, and now they were successful, and they just kind of lost their confidence a little bit, and really within a short time they can be feeling very confident and great. And that was the unexpected. I didn't really realize with what I was doing that was going to happen, and it happens even if people aren't coming for that reason. They just, through these tools and through what we're doing in coaching, just really start to believe in themselves more, and just really kind of go for it with things that they've just been thinking about a long time.
Yeah, that sounds great. And you know, obviously by default, as you start talking about it, my mind just would naturally gravitate to think that, oh, so it's mostly like business, career coaching, you know, kind of personal achievement from a business perspective. But what you're saying is you touch on all of them.
Yeah, and it's really not, I don't get into the career area very much. I mean, I work with business people that are trying to grow their businesses or do it better or more efficiently or more with enjoyment. But as far as counseling people on career and, you know, what should I do next and that kind of thing, I do work with a lot of people on finding their strengths. That's actually the basis of what I do with every client that starts to work with me, no matter what they're doing, is we have this great assessment that they do that helps them see their strengths and current limitations that are happening right now. So they might find out, you know, what they might be inclined to do or not do, but actually picking careers and things like that, that wouldn't be part of
so not so much like the vocational, you know, what am I good for, you know. But you really,
what should I do next kind of thing.
Kind of
it's more empowering them to get ready for that.
And more like, how do they grow in the track that they are already on? And become more successful. So I know that you, and we have this book for our viewers to see later, but you mentioned that there's this book that you recommend that all your clients read.
Yes, and it's called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And he's actually the publisher of Success Magazine, and I ask all my clients to read that magazine as well. Because one of my beliefs is that we are bombarded without asking for it on a daily basis, so much negativity that we don't have to go looking for it, right? It comes to us, and we just can't help it. So on purpose, I really feel like we have to look for ways to put really great stuff in our heads. And so Success Magazine is one way you can do that in little snippets, but they also have the CD that comes in the magazine, and they're always interviewing people from all different walks of life. And it's just inspiring. So instead of listening to music in the car, maybe one day a week you listen to this, and it makes you have ideas about what could be possible for you listening to what other people are doing. But the book, The Compound Effect, is really important to my coaching clients because it really shows how making little choices day in and day out are either going to give you the result you want or they're going to give you the result you don't want.
Right.
There will be a result. And so really carefully choosing, but also seeing in the big picture that it does matter if you eat, like if you ate hamburgers, which I know you wouldn't do, because that's not what you do. Like, okay, let's say McDonald's.
Exactly, I won't eat McDonald's.
So you ate, something fattening and greasy today, and I ate a salad. There would be no difference between you and I. And there probably wouldn't be if we did the same thing tomorrow or the next day or the next day. But come visit us 3 months from now, and the chances are we would start to see a difference in our health and the way that we looked. So it's that idea that it does matter what you do on any given day. It compounds over time. And I love the book because Darren Hardy gives a lot of good, like, here are these 3 guys, and here's what they did, and here's what happened after a year, and then after 2 years, and after 3 years. And it's just amazing, and you can just look at your life and go, okay, this is my time. I need to make a good choice now, and I need to continue to do it, even in the face of not seeing results yet. Right. And that's where a coach can be really helpful to keep you encouraged while you're not seeing the results yet, because things take time, and we live in a very impatient world. So that's what the whole premise of the compound effect is.
So, and I may be putting you on the spot, I don't know, but as you're saying this, the compound effect, I'm thinking, okay, so maybe I need to look at what are the little things that I need to do every day. Is there like a simple exercise that we can tell viewers, like, okay, so tonight, write a list of the little things. I don't know, what could we take away from that as a really simple thing?
Good question. I like that. I think a great way to do that, and one of the things I really work with every client on, is designing their life. And that means starting by designing a day and designing your week and your month, what you want. And that is very empowering. But the first thing you have to do is just start to take stock of all the things you're doing all day. So an easy way to accomplish that, which you just asked about, would be to just start taking note of, when I got up in the morning, these are all the things I did first until I got to work, and then these are the kinds of things I was doing at work, and here's where I went, and here's what I did, and just start looking at what's happening, and just take 2 weeks. Mike Ferry, my old mentor, used to tell us, take 2 weeks and record hour by hour. And it's painstaking, but you get tons of information from it. You can really see patterns and start to get an idea about those things that you might be doing that are good every day, but also you could see some things that are, well, I may be doing that a little too often, and that's not going to get me where I want to go. Maybe I hit the snooze button, or I did choose that wrong food 4 times last week when I said I didn't want to. So that kind of thing. But that would be a great way to figure that out.
Yeah, kind of like a food journal, but an activity journal.
Yes, yes, it could be painful,
reality
but really,
check.
Exactly.
Yeah,
reality.
Interesting. So you have a variety of programs. So tell me, or tell us, what's the difference, say, for example, between one of the masterminds that you have coming up, or the retreat that you have? Like, how are they different, and what sorts of things would one do?
Well, I'm one of these people that likes to throw a lot of spaghetti against the wall, and some of it sticks. So I like to offer all kinds of different things now. Luckily, most things end up but some things work for one person's schedule and other things will work for someone else's schedule. So I try to make lots of different offerings.
Gotcha.
So like the mastermind groups will meet monthly. I have a women's business mastermind group that's going to start in April, and they will meet once a month, and it's on the phone, so it's easy for anybody to get to. And then they'll have a one-on-one half hour with me every month too. So they get that group dynamic, but they also get the one-on-one personal attention.
Right.
So that is different than like going to a retreat that I'm planning, which I can't say the location yet because it's not determined, but a really great, beautiful location where, 20 people is the limit, and you'll have 20 great people who are all like-minded because you're all there for the same purpose. And that's always neat too because you have the energy of the other people.
Right.
And then I have like an 8-week, 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. It's a John Maxwell book that came out about 1.5 years ago. And it really is like bottom line, here's what you need to know, here's what you need to think about. And we actually cover 2 chapters a week for 8 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And there is homework that you do. And so it's just a really neat way to go through some great material. And you're also on the phone with other people, and so there will be some chiming in about, here's what happened with me last week that just pertains to this very thing that we're talking about. And so you end up, mastermind is a great way that you learn from the others in the group as well as from the material.
Right.
So it's just kind of a neat combination.
And so that's 15, is it weeks? One per?
That's just, it's 8 weeks.
Oh, 8 weeks.
Yep, we do 2 chapters a week.
So can you give us a taste of what are some of these laws of growth?
You're going to put me on the spot.
Oh, sorry. I'm so curious.
I'm going to draw a blank right here.
I'm so curious about what are the laws of growth. I'll have to check out the book.
The law of the mirror is one of them. And that's just all about looking at, what you're noticing is usually what you need to notice in your own life. So it's, things like that we don't always think about as we're walking around.
Yeah, what are you picking up?
I wish I had brought the book in.
Yeah. Well, now you've successfully
I
made us
know
all
the
curious,
material, I promise.
Of course you do.
Done it a million
I
times.
put you on the spot.
Like,
But, it definitely makes us curious. It sounds like a phenomenal group.
Yeah.
So when someone's participating in a retreat, are you focusing it on, say, a specific area of life? Like, is everybody going to be working on their, I don't know, just to say prosperity or their, business growth or their relationships? Or is it just everybody working on different things?
The success retreat that I have coming up in early June, what will be a big part of that is the fact that they're actually at the retreat and reflection.
Yeah.
So looking at, and we talk a lot about that, like taking time to review what has happened so far this year. Are you where you wanted to be? What is different? What's going well? What isn't working so well? So there's a lot of really just kind of thinking. And everyone will be kind of doing that on their own, but I bring a balance between work on your own in this beautiful location and come back to the group and share what you're learning. And there will be some people who really like to share, and then other people who really just are there to work to themselves, and they'll still listen and they'll get a lot from the conversation, but they won't exchange. And that's fine. So that's why I try to set an energy like that where people can feel like they can be there the way they want to be there. But we'll be doing things like that. We'll be talking about success and what does it mean, and a lot of disciplines and healthy habits. And I always I really believe that health is a foundation to everything. If you don't have great health, then it's hard to be the best you can be. And so we talk a lot about, how you're going to be healthy, body, mind, spirit. In really concrete ways, and we talk a lot about mindset and what you're thinking about and how to get your head in the right place to help you really have the life you want to, and then that piece about creating your life and techniques about how to work with that and how to really do that. And like people like to know, well, I like the idea of creating my life, but how do I actually do it? So we kind of go over that whole picture. At the Success Retreat.
So let's actually show our viewers what is this whole list of events and retreats that that you're offering that people can actually access. So you've got the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth Mastermind that we were just talking about. The mindset tune-up, can you just tell us quickly?
Yeah,
we don't
the
have too much for
mindset tune-up is really just a great one because it's only 2 sessions on the phone.
Oh.
So you come the first week and you hear ideas about how to get your head in the right place, and then you have homework to do in the next week to observe and to try some things out. Then you come back and we learn more.
And so then the May Success Retreat is the 20-person event that you're talking about, and kind of strategies for creating their lives, right?
Right.
The Women's Business Mastermind. So you have a couple different masterminds here. The Success 2014 Mastermind.
Yeah, those are like the same format as the women's. The one I said you meet once a month.
Okay.
But the Success 2014 Mastermind can be men too.
Oh, okay.
For the men and women together.
Yeah.
And expanding your beauty within is just a real treasure to me, and it's really about kind of learning how to go in and find the things that are good about yourself. What I really discovered these past few years in my own business, and even before that, was that people have a really hard time recognizing what's good about them, and it's really building that and bringing it out so that it can, you know, come out into the world. So that's a really cool, and that's just one session. So it's 1 hour and a half to come and really get filled up with some great information, and I share my resources for how I do that myself.
Beautiful. And then obviously your one-on-one coaching, your year of transformation program. And so on the next screen we have, that's your website, youryearoftransformation.com, and your Twitter handle is Coach Kim DuBrul.
And if they want to find me on Facebook, they can do Your Year of Transformation.
Perfect.
And I will pop up.
Perfect. And then this is the book that you mentioned, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, and the magazine that he publishes.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And do I have time to just mention, if you want to know about the compound effect, just go to thecompoundeffect.com, and there's a whole bunch of free resources there that I actually use in workshops and with clients all the time. And there's this one thing called the Weekly Rhythm Register, where you can track your weekly actions that are leading you toward your goals. So I highly recommend that.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. So it's thecompoundeffect.com.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we have about another minute. Is there something that is popping up for you that you're thinking, oh, we need to share this, I forgot? Anything like that?
I would just like to, I'll throw a challenge out there to the first person that comes to my my Facebook page and says, I saw the show and I'm here to tell you, I will give them a copy of The Compound Effect.
Oh, wow.
So that'll be a fun thing.
Maybe it'll be me.
And Morella, I'll give one to you anyway. And you probably already have it. Yeah. The other thing I would just want to mention to add to that list is that if somebody works with a group, you have a company, a division. I worked with some great local the colleges and different places where I will come in and do like the mind scan thinking styles assessment for your entire team, and it really elevates the level of understanding between team members, and besides it's really fun. Cool. But I do work with groups, so I just want to make sure to say that I just love the energy of working with groups, and it's just very fulfilling. So I appreciate being here.
Yeah, I'm so happy you came. You were such a wonderful resource that, you know, I just wanted to be sure people knew how to find you and, you know, all of the wonderful work that you do.
Thank you.
And, you know, just as a reminder to our viewers, you know, it's all about being your best self, you know, right? Being the best athlete at your own life, that you can be creating your life as you want it to be. So I guess the question for all of us to take away is where is our life or your life not exactly where you want it to be? Because then that's an opportunity for growth, and that's certainly something that Kim can coach you with or coach you towards.
You nailed it. That's perfect.
So thank you so much for joining us. I hope this was as enjoyable and interesting for you as it was for me, and I look forward to seeing you next time.